For today's episode, we're chatting with the lovely Naomi from Groomer Nation. Naomi is a master groomer. Yes, she is a master at grooming dogs, and she's going to be talking to us about the skin, why protecting the skin and nourishing the skin is so important, why it's important to use quality, natural, healthy and beneficial ingredients, and all sorts of things natural grooming. Welcome and thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me, Sherry. It's a real honour to be on the podcast. Yeah, I'm so excited. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. We are just super happy to have you here to have a lovely chat and pick your brain a little bit for all of our
Yes.
viewers and listeners to help them make sure that they're doing all of the things that they need to be doing to look after their pet's skin and coat.
Yeah, awesome. Well, yeah, let's go for it.
Excellent. Well, would you like to start by talking to us a little bit about how you got started in grooming and what you're doing nowadays?
Okay, well, it all started when I was a teenager. My mum was actually a pet groomer, so I kind of followed in her footsteps, starting mainly on the weekends and school holidays, helping her out. She was mobile. I was about, I think, 14, 15, kind of started, she started giving me the scissors. I was able to do some of the grooming myself. So I developed a real passion for dogs and cats really early. And thanks to her, I was able to pursue it as a career. I went on after school to study at TAFE to become a vet nurse. So I was a qualified vet nurse for 8 years whilst working as a pet groomer. So I was able to do both at my my veterinary surgery in Sydney. So my boss was really cool. He knew I loved grooming. So I was able to do part-time grooming, part-time vet nursing. And that I was then opening my first business at the age of 24. And I started training people pretty early. I mean, I had a few years behind me by that stage. And we expanded as a business. We were mobile and had 3, 4, 5, 6 other, I guess you could say, staff members out there working, using our techniques and developing, a really convenient business for pet owners. And then I started a salon in Sydney after that, after doing 10 years mobile, and a school. So that was kind of my introduction to starting to teach people how to become great pet groomers. I'm certified canine groomer, but also a certified feline master groomer. So I did 2 master certifications and then just finished my 3rd master certification 2 years ago to become Australia's first Master Pet Aesthetician. And that's someone that has studied as a passion and completed case studies for dogs that have skin issues or chronic skin issues ongoing and haven't been able to get relief via the veterinary, I guess, routes, and then chose to have a groomer help them on the side. And I was able to fix quite a few pets early for my certification, and that's kind of been the way that I've directed my career since then. I've had trips to Italy. Actually, I've been all over the world with this career, believe it or not. It's so exciting. We have an Australian groom team, and I was on that for 4 years. So we've been to Belgium, Spain, Italy, New Zealand, and doing pet grooming as a competition thing as well. So that's been really fun. Meet lots of people and lots of pets. But doing the skin and coat restoration has really been what's given me a lot of internal joy the last few years, and to be able to help the pet owners and the pets live new lives has been really, really, really good.
Absolutely. One of the things that I guess motivated me to get into skincare product formulation was way back in the day when I had my grooming salon. I just saw so many dogs, particularly little white fluffies, coming in with all
Yeah.
sorts of skin issues, and there just wasn't the training or even the products available way back when. Can you talk about what some of the most common skin conditions are that you're seeing?
Yeah, I think, well, one of the biggest issues I've found, and working with Dr. Cliff Favor, who's a veterinarian in America, on some of the skin cases in the grooming salon, is about 90% of dogs that we see seem to have dry skin. And when you have the dry skin, I mean, due to climate, potentially home grooming routines, swimming, and just, breeding as a general thing that occurs, you have dry skin and you have that breakdown or leaky barrier. And the skin is easily penetrated with allergens, pollutions, bacteria, fungus, mold, pollen in my area is just crazy.
So
and then that starts that little niggle, and then we have the scratching, rubbing, itching occur, which is the secondary part to that. So what I found is if we can nourish the skin as pet groomers and then teach the pet owners to continue this at home with their own personal or individualized pet skin routine, then we can avoid dry skin from the beginning. And as you know, groomers traditionally in Australia weren't huge on conditioning. I feel like there was a bit of a barrier when it came to our conditioning products. They were very either oily or heavy professionally, so groomers would avoid them. The dogs became hard to blow dry, hard to clip. These were products that were very emollient based. So, emollient's quite a waxy feel, it leaves a bit of residue on the coat. These days, we're so lucky to have incredible, I guess you could say, cosmetics that are more humectant based. So they actually absorb the hydration into the skin rather than letting it just sit on top of the hair and the skin. These humectant based conditioners will nourish the skin, and that's what we really were missing and lacking. And I feel perpetuated skin conditions like feet, ears, bellies from the beginning. And that's my mission, is to teach pet groomers to nourish skin from the get-go. Even if we see the dog once a month, we try and get our pet owners to come monthly, ideally, if not fortnightly. I mean, to some people that might seem really, really crazy, but this is a month or 6 weeks or 8 weeks between a skincare routine. Imagine that for us humans, not having any hydration applied via lotions or whatever you're using. And having the lifestyles that our pets do have, they were very, very dry.
yeah, especially coming into winter as well, it always seems to worsen.
Yeah. And our seasonal allergens are like phenomenal in Australia, and we rug them up in front of the heater. It's a dry. And also, can I mention, at home, pet owners are not educated via the vets or pet groomers to do the two-step shampoo and condition at home. And if they just added that to their repertoire, the home grooming repertoire, it would be life-changing for these pets if they had a really good condition at home. I even have some of my clients who use hydration sprays, so I get them to mix, conditioner, really good conditioner with water and spray it all over the pet every single day to hydrate their skin between grooms, between swims, between baths, things like that.
Absolutely. So, can you talk about the sorts of treatments that you're using that are available now to help support the skin and not just moisturize, but sort of try to lock the moisture in?
Yeah, so we're really lucky today to have, I guess, a lot of progression in this world of pet products. And I work with a company called Yves Saint Bernard, which is a pet cosmetology company. They use a lot of naturally derived ingredients, but they are cosmetics. So they've got things that will help to also sustain the skin's health. We use like clays, really, really, really gentle cleansers that are SLS free, no nasties. And then we use really good conditioners that are humectant based, not so emollient based, so they'll hydrate. And we try to teach groomers to do this for the pet owners. We also use ozone therapy, and ozone therapy is a tool that pet groomers can use to, I hate the word disinfect, but it's almost like it oxidizes organic matter on the surface of the skin and around the pet. So we can get rid of pollution, pollens, all the crazy stuff that sets our dogs off, but also control fungus, mold, bacteria. But it also stimulates the pet's own circulatory systems and own healing abilities. And we use it in water, like a spa, essentially like a jacuzzi. And I do know that they have these systems out there for humans as well, and with O3, so ozone. And our group of estheticians here in Australia is growing. But these groomers, they're special groomers that have gone from traditional grooming to adding these extra skin services. These estheticians have ozone therapies in their salons now. So you can add our directory of esthetician groomers and you can go to them and say, hey, my dog is having some trouble with allergy-prone skin. Can you use ozone therapy? And they'll be like, yeah, hell yeah, because it's so good. It works really, really well. And it's great for arthritis and anxiety and other things too.
Absolutely. I love that. It would just be so effective for so many different problems. And even if there isn't necessarily a specific problem that you're treating, just overall for the health of the skin, I mean, it's their body and ours, largest organ. And what people don't realize is, that what you put on the skin is going to end up in the body and over time into the bloodstream, but it's also an important secreting organ. And if you've got skin problems, if it's not healthy, if it's dry, if the skin is broken, it can also, contribute to a toxicity buildup in the body. People
Yeah.
really don't seem to realize just how important a part of their overall health it is. It's not just about getting rid of dandruff and being clean and smelling pretty. It's so much more than that.
Absolutely. Their first line of defense, and that skin has its own cutaneous immune system, so its own immune system where it's constantly canceling each other out when it comes to things that it's coming into contact with. And it's working hard all over the pet. And as soon as there's an imbalance, whether it's something that we inadvertently try to help the pet with, like we might use like long-term antibiotics, or we might use something given from the vet for a purpose, like a medicated product, but we might use it long term when it was only meant to be used for short term. And we're then changing the microbiome and creating issues. And we don't realize that we're only wanting the best for our pets, but these things will start the imbalances. And us women know what it's like to have imbalances. And it's always trying to get balanced and find homeostasis, but we often interfere. And using like alcohol-based products and things that are constantly drying the pet out and not conditioning is straight up what's going to make things really hard for the pet.
Absolutely. And the other thing I think that a lot of people find it difficult to understand as well is more often than not, a skin problem isn't just a skin problem. It's simply the first or an early symptom of something bigger that's going on internally.
Yeah. So as our esthetician group, so our pet estheticians here in Australia, when they take on a case, after they've assessed the skin, the second step is to ask the client to actually get a full blood panel, so biochemistry and full blood count, to triple check that this is not a result of something like liver, kidneys, immune system,
Exactly.
because in humans as well, the skin is telling a story, and sometimes it can be something could be, unfortunately hiding behind it. So when we rule that out straight away, we make sure that there's nothing underlying, and then we can get started on therapy sessions, and we use ozone. And we usually find we can turn things around pretty quickly in a few weeks. And we have mentorship available for our pet esthetician group via Dr. Cliff Faver, who's a veterinarian that heads up this type of work. And it's really good. We are bridging the gap between veterinarians and groomers and making us work as a team. And we're like beauty therapists for pets. So vets can call on us as well because they don't do baths. They don't look after the hygiene like groomers do. And they're not seeing them as much as us, the pets. They might be seeing them once or twice a year when they're sick, but we're seeing them hopefully 12 plus times a year, and we're really keeping an eye on the changes that are occurring. So your groomer is a vital tool for the pet's overall health as well.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. So, can you
Yeah.
talk about, in terms of ingredients that you're using? Can you talk about some of the ingredients in particular to give people some examples, maybe, of what to look for and what the benefits are?
Yeah, so there's some really great botanical ingredients that we use in our Yves Saint Bernard products. So we have a line called Mineral Red or Mineral Red Derma range. And the key ingredients or active ingredients in our cleanser is nettle and keratin. So nettle has been used, you would know, for a long time for itchy skin. Keratin is like the building blocks for the skin, really good to repair. And then in our conditioners, we have calendula, chamomile. We have some really important trace minerals and amino acids. And just these things, I guess, are a little more about giving back to the skin rather than some of the other products available, which, will more take away. So they will be like killing the microorganisms on the skin rather than nourishing the skin. And I don't know about you, but if I'm not continually nourishing myself outside and in, I feel sluggish, I feel dry, I'm not repairing. So it's about putting back into the skin and getting it supple again, hydrated, all those good things, while calming down the itch, soothing, hopefully getting the dog to stop licking its feet, and things like that. We also have a product called SOS Gel, which is just what it is, SOS. It's for those times when you might need something really quick that will stop the dog from licking, like you've been out in the grass and they've got like really itchy feet all of a sudden, or a hot spot or something on the dog's skin. And I use it on myself for mozzie bites and midgie bites, and it just zaps in a split second. That is almost numbed, and the dog will then leave it alone. I know I leave my bites and scratches and things alone after I put this gel on, and it's naturally derived ingredients. It's got a natural xanthine analgesic in it, and it's really good to stop that secondary infection getting embedded by the itching and scratching and things like that. So it's one I go to constantly.
So can you talk about some of the ingredients that you'd like to see people avoid? I know there's a lot of confusion when people are buying a shampoo or a product to use at home. Some list ingredients, some don't. And even though many of them are listed, a lot of people find them hard to understand and don't really know where to find more information. What are the key ones that stand out for you that people should be avoiding?
Yeah. Well, I think this is a real minefield of a topic because a lot of the brands are not transparent with their ingredients. And when we talk about hypoallergenic, it's impossible to have like nothing in that product that someone can't be allergic to at some stage, any time in their life. You know, the immune system's like the straw that broke the camel's back. It'll be building up and then it'll be something tips it over the edge. And it's really hard to figure out what it is. But if you can use a product that's got transparency with ingredients and you can read what it is, then that's really good. You would want to hope that that company has added on the label the whole ingredient deck, which I believe they usually only put the top 8 ingredients. So there's synthetics and things that are often left out. So using that as a go-to straight away, you want to have that transparency. And then thinking about things that are going to take away from the skin. So really heavy surfactants. So your SLSs and things like that. They do have a job. They do degrease, but in our pets, we want to almost not degrease the sebum layer. We want to just take away the top layer of dirt and old dead skin cells, the keratinized cells, and leave the sebum layer alone, which is that nutrition, that liquid gold that feeds the skin. So we don't need anything harsh. We don't need to be clarifying, degreasing, or avoid anything that says that. And then, you know, your chlorhexidine products. Chlorhexidine is a fantastic broad spectrum antibacterial product. It kills all microorganisms on the animal, good and bad, like all of them. So if you're going to use something that's medicated and strong, you want to use it in its spots, areas where you need it, and you want to use it as per the label. Hopefully it's a prescription item from the vet and it's got a label on it and it tells you when and where and how long to use it for. And then after that, put it to the side like a medication, because these medicated shampoos shouldn't be used unless they're absolutely needed at the time. Otherwise, you're going to dry out your pet going forward. Other things to avoid, I'm just trying to think. I mean, making sure that, this sounds really harsh, but the cheaper the product, the nastier it can be. And we know that in human terms as well. You know, the really high-end, great products work really, really well. They have great active ingredients. So you're just going to pick something up for super cheap. Be aware the ingredients in it were cheap to put together. Let's just say that. Yeah, I think that's probably covered most of the things I would probably avoid. I think transparency with ingredient decks is really important. If the product doesn't tell you what it is and you can't find it by calling the company and they're hiding it, then how do we know what we're putting on our animals and ourselves? And this is what I teach our groomers as well. They need to be making sure that the products that they're applying to the pet 5 to 8 times a day, that the pets that they see, is safe for them to be always coming into contact with, because, you know, these things build up in your system and you want to be making sure that it's something that's low tox at the end of the day.
Absolutely. I give the same advice when I have inquiries about products as well. My general rule is if they're not listing all of the ingredients or you can't easily find them, put it back on the shelf and look for something else, because you know, there's minimal regulation in Australia
Mhm.
in terms of what they can use. And if they're not going to be upfront about what's in it, you really have no way of knowing what you're getting. And in particular, if you've got a dog that's, that has reactive skin, personally,
Yeah.
I just wouldn't take that risk.
Yeah, yeah, 100% agree. We also have a product called pH Balance, which is a balancing balsam, which is a conditioner. So it's basically a product that it's a thicker mask conditioner, but you use it in the second phase, so after you've cleansed, and it helps to re-establish the dog's normal pH balance, and hopefully then in turn knock out any bacteria and fungus which is lying beneath. But things like that I think are important because we can tip a dog really far the wrong way with the wrong products.
Absolutely. What I'd really like to do when you've next got some more time, and if you're up for it, I'd really like to do a little bit of a deep dive and go further into the science of the skin. Not too sciencey, but the basics. What the different layers are, what their function is, about the skin microbiome, the acid mantle, just to explain the basics, and maybe give people a little bit more of a picture, of just how things work, to help them understand, why it's so important to be, to have an active and consistent grooming routine, to be using healthy products, what happens if you're not using fantastic products. I just sort of connect all of the dots. And then, of course, your gut health and diet plays a really important part
Mm,
in all of that as well. Yeah, I'd really love to do a deep dive
yeah,
in future.
absolutely. Yeah, I'd definitely love to do that.
Yeah, no, that'd be amazing. And I'm just so happy that these days, the
Mm,
level of knowledge that's out there, the training courses that you guys are doing, and just connecting the dots, as you said, between the vet and between the dog, and just, forming essentially a holistic care plan. I mean, that's the sort of thing I only dreamed about 15 or 20 years ago. So I'm
mhm.
I'm just so
Yeah.
excited that that's actually happening, and that level of support is there, and all of the natural therapies that are available now, like the ozone therapy. I mean, that stuff was never heard of back in my day when I had the salon. And
Mhm.
it's
Yeah, I really want to thank Europe. They are trailblazers in
they
this.
really
They
are.
have been ahead of us for 30 years. When I went there, like some of the things they when you talk about products, they sell as companies more conditioner than they do shampoo. And I was like,
Um,
how does that even work? Well, they actually recommend conditioning first, shampooing second, and then conditioning again. So doing the close, open, close, or whatever you want to call it, because they figured out that by putting the conditioner on first, you're actually almost dissolving any of the old or stagnant sebum, and then follicularly cleansing the skin really, really well, and then reconditioning. So they're just finding these techniques that are making the skin so supple. Yeah, detoxing, cleansing, conditioning, or hydrating. And it's very much that beauty kind of way of thinking or hairdressing way of thinking. And I'm so glad we can start to adapt it into pet grooming, and we're preventing skin issues, but we're also having happier pets at the end of the day, and more mindful pet groomers, and they're enjoying their job more because there's more happy clients, and it's just a really great cycle, and I'm so glad to be a part of it. We're actually launching our first edition of Pet Aesthetician News next month, so we've got in that, yeah, some really good cases that has been successful by using these techniques in pet grooming salons from our students. So you've got befores and afters and things like that of dogs that have sometimes been trapped in their chronic skin conditions for 10, 15, or not 15, 10 years or less. And they're coming to the other side of it finally, and they're starting to play with their toys again and
exactly.
playing with just their life is unlocked
Changes their
finally. And who would have thought it was just skin nutrition and really great techniques from groomers at the end of the day? And yeah, to be a part of it is really, really a privilege for me. So it's been great.
Absolutely. So if someone is wanting to find a groomer in their area that has completed your training, that understands the techniques, and if someone's perhaps looking at the ozone therapy as well, you've got a list available on your website. What's the address for them to go to?
Yep, so we had 38 graduates this year. Our program is 3 modules, so that all completed the 3 modules. You can find them at groomination.com.au, and you just head to the Therapeutic Pet Groomers, so TPGA directory, TPGA directory, and you'll have the list of all the people that are able to provide these services in their grooming salon. This year, our next bunch of graduates will occur in November, so we'll be adding to that another, hopefully 30 or 40 pet groomers that'll be ready to go again at the end of this year in November, when we have Dr. Cliff Favor and his pet grooming wife, Suzanne, come back from the US, and they head up the program, and it's quite rigorous, and you can trust that the groomers have the backing of a veterinarian and other pet groomers behind them when it comes to helping out with these cases.
That's just amazing. That blows my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, it very, very, very much is. Where was that when I needed it years ago? And anyway, it's here now.
I know. It's here now. I went to Italy about 4 years ago to the academy over there that teaches this cosmetology, and it was mind-boggling at the time. I just was like, I'm a traditional pet groomer from Australia, and here they are applying these incredible masks and making the dogs just feel so wonderful, and it was really mind-boggling at the time. Yeah.
That would have been so fun to get your hands on all of those beautiful natural products and play with the doggies and just see the results firsthand.
Yeah, it was really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Before we go, can you think of anything in particular or any quick tips, something that you would like pet owners to know or maybe to be doing at home in between grooms?
Sorry, my little dog's had a...
Mila has something to say, Mummy.
Yeah, where is it? Someone must be here. I would definitely say adapt a conditioner to your home grooming routine. Look for a gentle cleanser, something that's not too harsh, and don't skip that step. Even if you leave it on your pet for 5 to 10 minutes and then rinse it. Doing a lot of swimming and the pet needs bathing a lot, don't be afraid. If you're using a great product set, sorry, hang on one second.
She has a lot to say. Yeah.
If you're
That's
using
your
a
name
great...
twin. That's your name twin.
Come here. She just wanted to be on camera.
My guys
If
are,
you're using a
reacting.
great...
They're looking around for where she is.
She can't help it. If you're using a great product brand, something that's not too harsh, you can actually bath your dog. This is going to scare people. You can actually bath your dog every single day as long as using a shampoo and a conditioner. Even if you skip the shampoo and just use a conditioner, because you're not going to affect the sebum layer. And I feel like that old wives' tale of only bathing once a month, or some people even think once a year, you really aren't giving the skin a chance
it's only
to
if you're using a product
breathe.
that's drying. If you're using something that's maintaining or contributing to the moisture level of the skin, it's a completely different story.
Yeah. And that's that, when we started grooming, that was the thing that we were told, don't bath too often. But, the pets miss out on that bonding time if you really lapse it, and they miss out on coming inside because they're not clean. And I mean, just even the coat itself needs so much hydration via conditioner. So don't hold back. Give them a nice warm bath, use your conditioner, leave it on 5 minutes before you rinse it, and give them some hydration. That's my best piece of advice.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, and to you too,
She just wants to be a superstar.
You want to be a supermodel, don't you?
She does.
Pretty girl.
She's messed up her hair.
Don't they all? Well, thank you so much. It's been so great chatting to you, and I'd love to have you back.
Absolutely. Yeah, I really, really am passionate about this, and I want to say thank you, Sherry, for having us on, and I can't wait for the next one.
Sounds amazing.